Hello, I hope y'all are all doing well. It's April 20th. So it's been about 4 months since my last video at this point, and I apologize. There's been a lot that's happened since then. A lot's kind of led to it. A lot of stuff has been going on in my life, and I kind of wanted to get everything together pretty much before I started doing weather related things again, I guess. So I kind of took a break from weather for a bit. Uh, and other stuff that I enjoy doing just to kind of get things back together. But now I think I'm to that point again, and so I hope to start uploading. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So currently we're looking at radar in southern Texas. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for San Antonio. As we can see right here, the storm is getting pretty close to San Antonio, and by the time this video is actually posted, it'll probably be pretty far east. But we've had some MPing reports of pea-sized hail, probably still some pea-sized hail mixed in there, and maybe some gusty winds probably with this as well. Coming to San Antonio, overall not too impressive of a storm, but definitely has some severe characteristics. And we have this pretty much this whole weak thunderstorm complex that extends north, pretty much to the Austin, Round Rock area with a bunch of stratiform. I mean, this thing extends for a while. In Louisiana as well, Alexandria getting in some of that. None of these storms are even strong or severe besides on the southern edge. And then we just have this insane amount of stratiform rain. It's cold rain too. We'll take a look at temperatures in just a second. Little break in it across Mississippi, and then we have another bit of it moving through eastern Alabama and over towards the Atlanta area. As well, we can see Noonan getting in some of that. None of these storms, once again, are strong. And the air up here is actually pretty dry, so it's kind of helping to limit some of this. But as that rain comes down, we're seeing, the radiational, or the, what is it? Not radiational cooling. We're just seeing, I forgot what the actual word is for it. But because the dew point is in the 50s pretty much, when that rain starts coming down, the temperature is pretty much going to cool down to the dew point. And so we see temperatures drop pretty quickly into the 50s. That's why in the summer, if you have, if it's 95 degrees and you get an afternoon thunderstorm, it's pretty strong. And this, at least here in the southeast, the dew point normally is around 70. Later in the year, or later in the summer, July, August, the dew point will be around 75. For those of you who don't know, the dew point is pretty much where water actually condenses. So if the temperature is the same as the dew point, you'll see fog. But what happens is when that rain starts, the temperature will just cool down pretty much until it hits that dew point, and then it ends up being 75 degrees because of that when it after the rain. So, but yeah, so we've seen that with temperatures in the cooling into the 50s and stuff in these areas. A big change as well. We see pretty much earlier today. These are what we were looking at temperature-wise across the southeast. So where we had that rain and stuff, we even had some 40s in southern Arkansas. But overall we had 80s across southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern and southeastern Alabama, much of Georgia, all of South Carolina pretty much. Columbia I think hit 90. I think some areas in southeastern Georgia probably hit 90 as well. And then in Florida, a large part of the peninsula was upper 80s, probably around 90 as well in many areas. So very warm. And then as we go later in the day, so this was at about 6 p.m. today. We can see those storms blowing up across southern Georgia, starting to cool everything down. And now, this was at about 10 p.m. So this is a bit older. Yeah, 10 p.m. We can see those 50s starting to spread in the eastern Alabama, where we have that rain. Just this big pocket of cold air wherever we have that rain, and then still where the rain hasn't. Where the rain hasn't quite gotten, we have some hot, still warm temperatures over here. This pocket right here, colder air, we had a bunch of severe thunderstorms in that area earlier today. I think in Rock Hill, South Carolina, we had some huge hail too. I saw pictures of that on Twitter. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so big change. These are our forecasted high temperatures for tomorrow. As you can see, much colder. Columbia was around 90 today. Tomorrow, their expected high is 59, so that's about 30 degrees colder, so pretty significant. Florida and southeastern Georgia are still going to be very warm, around 90. Portions of central Florida and southeastern Georgia, we have 80s. And then overall 60s pretty much for much of the south and the southeast. Severe weather-wise, there's not much to really look out for. Day 1, this is our day 1 outlook. This goes until 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, my bad. We have that slight risk in southern Texas and a marginal risk surrounding that. We had a 2 tour, 15 wind, 15 hail. Of course, that's not really, there's no point in really looking at that because anybody watching this, also one reason I'm actually starting to upload again is because of my grandma actually, because she was pretty much the first, she has pretty much watched every one of my videos since 2018. Because before I had this channel, I had another one, where I also uploaded videos, and she was like the person who pretty much like would always watch him. And so I mean, because she pretty much, my grandma actually like relies on these for her, or she did rely on these like for her weather. She lives in Florida, so there's some interesting weather down there. So it's kind of one reason, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. I wanted to say that. But yeah, so day 3, this is Monday. Yeah, Monday. We have a marginal risk across central Florida. Not really going to look too much into that. But yeah, some severe, most likely damaging wind probably. Yeah, it's cold front. Really just organized like pulse storms pretty much is what I'm expecting in that area. So damaging wind and some smaller hail, probably the main threats. Now looking towards later this week, really severe weather-wise, this is Thursday afternoon. 500 millibar winds. This area here really stands out in the plains, so I think we're definitely going to be seeing something come together potentially on Thursday. I don't believe we have a day 6. Yeah, we do actually have a day 6. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, Kansas, northern Kansas over into Texas. Probably going to have a lot of chasers out this day as well. So we see that 500 millibar winds, 850. Yeah, looking good. Across the pretty much the central and southern plains. So we have our low positioned in northeastern Colorado. Let's just go ahead and zoom in on this area. Dew points. Yeah, we got dews in the 60s, dry line right here. Warm front seems to be about right here. I mean, overall, this area here definitely stands out because it's closest to that low. Let's just take a box sounding Thursday afternoon across Kansas. So pretty interesting. So you have a little bit of capping going on, but that's not really extreme capping. We could get around that. Shear-wise, not bad. That's like probably a 5 tour if I had to guess. You could see some stuff out of that. Pretty moderate instability. Instability is a bit low, especially for the plains this time of year. We're starting to see like these more higher instability events. That's a bit low for this time of year to be honest across this area. But actually, what I said was incorrect. This is pretty much what you'd expect this time of year across this area. Now a little further south, different story. But across Kansas, it's kind of Kansas. We really see biggest month is normally May. And then we have like all those like weird setups in June, July that can sometimes do stuff, but it's kind of weird. The Hodo doesn't look too bad either. Could see some tornado action out of that for sure. Further south, let's go into Oklahoma. Yeah, we still have that cap, but it's kind of just like it's a pretty low shear event is what I'm kind of seeing here. Because 850 millibar winds are out of the south, 500 are out of the southwest, but we're not seeing too much in the way of shear at this. Let's take another box sounding. Yeah, this one's a bit better. We can see that. The thing is, we don't have as much like a low level shear, which is a bit of an issue, but I mean, it's not. I don't think it would limit that too much. I don't think we're going to be seeing like a tornado outbreak or anything from this, but I think some photogenic supercells and tornadoes are definitely in the good possibility for Thursday. I don't want to look at it too much because it's 5 days out. But the European, let's see. Got to go back to the 12Z. There we go. So European has a pretty similar look. Take a look at dew points. A little further north with that warm front. Yeah, good. A lot further north actually. So yeah, that shear is a bit better on the or on the euro. We still have that cap. That cap could actually kind of work as like kind of could help us out a little bit. And for some reason we see storms like up here, so Nebraska is more of an issue. Even as we go into like overnight Thursday, we see storms in Nebraska, but we had that cap pretty much come into play, limiting stuff limiting stuff further south of the warm front. So we'll have to see. I mean, honestly, I think the closer you are to the low for Thursday is probably going to be the closest potential or the best potential for tornadoes. But there's issues, of course, with that cap, and then how far north we're going to see that warm from. Which, I mean, those details, like, we'll get straight pretty much as we get closer to like Monday and Tuesday, and we get like the higher resolution models to actually go out for this event. The only other thing I really wanted to talk about in this video, there's not a whole lot going on right now, is just this interesting storm system that's going to be affecting the Northeast really Wednesday and Thursday. So this is the GFS. The GFS has this low going through southern areas of like Ontario and Quebec. And we see some snow even coming in the backside in areas of New York into like northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and then Maine. And then a pretty big pocket of cold air at this upper level low on the backside. Actual temperatures on the GFS are very cold for this time of year. You can see temperatures widespread in the 20s, so pretty hard freeze, 20s and even teens for much of the Northeast, even coastal areas getting down to freezing. Even down in DC, like even Ohio is below freezing. Northern Kentucky as well, so it's very, very cold. But the European's much different. The European, we can see that that low is further south. We don't see that snow. We also, because it's further south, we don't see that cold air, as much cold air get pushed in behind it. And so you take a morning like Friday, for example, and it's nowhere near as cold. I mean, we have temperatures below freezing in some places, but not like that widespread freeze all the way down to like Kentucky and coastal areas. It's much further north and not as extreme. And like I said before, we don't see that snow. So we'll have to see what happens with that as well. I'm probably leaning more towards the European just because it's more closer to what you'd actually see this time of year. Because the GFS is a bit more bullish with that system, bringing snow, actual accumulating snow in some places. And we take a look at like snowfall accumulations off the GFS. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that's a good bit of snow. That's like over a foot of snow in some places. I think that's pretty hard to get this time of year. We also have like 1 to 2 inches all the way down to like Binghamton, New York and stuff in northern PA. So I'm not too sure about that. We'll see. That's pretty much everything. I work pretty much all day tomorrow, so I won't have a video out. But Monday I will hopefully have one. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it and hope y'all have a good weekend.